welcome to this edition of Get to Know the Wayne State football program for the upcoming 2024 season. I'm Sports Information Director Jeff Weiss, and joined today by second-year head coach Tyrone Wheatley. Coach, thanks for joining us. Let's take a look at the Warriors for 24, but let's take a brief look back to 23. You got hired just right before signing date, had basically a month to get ready before camp, or spring ball and stuff. Obviously, a lot of transition and new coaches coming in. How did that transpire for you?
It went well. You've been doing this for a little while, whether as a player, as a coach, like you're saying, whether you get hired a month, a year, or a week, the transition is supposed to be seamless because, like I said, you've been doing this, right? So, but it went well. It went really well. The coaches came in, fit right in. Had a chance to meet with some of the departing seniors of the 23 season, but at the same time, listen to some of their things that they had to say about the program, the way it was going, transitioning themselves in and out. Some of the things they would like to see that they would like to see change if they were still here. And so, we concentrated on some of those things. But at the end of the day, the season was pretty good.
Yeah. Obviously, I didn't do you any favors. Having come in first year, played the toughest schedule in Division II. Opponents had a .636 winning percentage. 4 of the 8 losses were to playoff teams. 2 other games, either final 30 seconds or overtime. I mean, literally, you're 2 plays away from going 5-6. Even with the 3-8 record, that was as many wins as the 2 years previous. So you can see definitely an improvement heading forward.
Yes, you can see an improvement. I'm happy you see it that way, right? But the constituents and the people around it, they really only see records over 500. But let's talk about the little things, and the team. When you talk about the little things, the team really bought into the philosophy and change. Change isn't easy for everyone, right? So, but they did buy into the philosophy. They bought into the change. And when you talk about those little incremental losses, like you said, within 30 seconds. We're close, but we didn't get the win. But, you did see some sparkle in their eyes, even leading to winter conditioning. You can see that fuel is still burning from those losses and the possible wins, right? So the guys can see the future is bright for them, and they're training and they're working. But, it's close. We're real close.
Speaking of close, offensively, you've got 4 starters coming back: Manny Harris, John Raba, Aiden Tweedy, and Charles Wesley. Speaking of the O-line guys, 7 different guys back on the O-line that have started, including Charles, Aiden, and then Tyler Shoppert, who each started 12 games. That's going to give you some sense of excitement knowing that you've got 3 guys up there with a lot of experience.
You want production returning. I mean, no matter what position, but especially up front, you want production. Guys that have been in the trenches, understanding the situations, right? Football is all about managing the situations, and these guys up front are very smart young men, understanding, like we go to Saginaw, we don't punch the ball in on the goal line, but just understanding those situations and where we need to be. We had a couple of 3rd and shorts that we didn't convert on. Like I said, those are things you can revert back to and you draw back on, but understanding production, these guys, when you need production, and guys that have been there, done it, you need them back on the offensive line, because no matter what game you're playing, it's one up front, it's one with your big men.
Well, speaking of big men up front, on the defensive line, you got big Gus Taylor coming back to anchor the D-line. That's got to make Coach Sims pretty happy.
Yes, you know what? And Gus did a really great job. Gus grew up a lot last year. When I say grow up is when we talk about situations, there were times where he was getting double teamed, and he had the X on his chest, right? The proverbial X. Like, they knew who he was, and he understood his job. He understood that making the play isn't making the tackle. Making the play is holding his double team, splitting it, or running down the line and chasing pursuit, not losing it. And so he grew up situationally in football tremendously, and I was happy to see him understand that. When we talk about making a play, it isn't always on the stat sheet, right? It's just doing your job so someone else can do theirs. And then ultimately the team gets the stat we want, and that's the W. And so he has grown in the production sense of understanding the system and just understanding what his job is. And hopefully he will go from just doing his job to dominating his job this year.
Another guy that saw a lot of action on the defensive line, Colby Horn, big, tall defensive end.
You know what? Kobe's another one. He's another one who grew up in every facet of the word of understanding a system and just understanding situational play, right? It wasn't just always pin your ears back, Kobe, and go get the quarterback, because it might be a run, meaning like two ships in the night. You're going after the quarterback, he has the ball off, and the running back's going. But he grew up, right? And so I think a lot of people that understand football may not understand football and saying, yeah, you have the athletes, you have X, Y, and Z, but a lot of these guys were football immature. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're talking about as they're growing up. And when we talk about production, they're being productive, not only just in the stats, but in the system and understanding the scheme.
The other defensive starter returning is linebacker Carl Ware, obviously coming over as a transfer, kind of stepped into playing quite a bit in his first year in the green and gold.
I love Carl. Carl is the energy. He's an emotional leader. I mean, he takes it serious. He is one of those guys that you can look at no matter what time of day it is, no matter where it is. He's out there on the field. I have to kick Carl off the field. I said, Carl, get off the field. Right? We have practice tomorrow. But those are the type of guys you love and you want in your program, where we talk about now where football is a lifestyle. Football is truly a lifestyle for Carl. Like, Carl eats, lives, and breathes it, and he's watching film, he's coached. Let me ask you a question, and I love it, right? But to have him back is just really good. Looking for him to be a leader and to help these young men, because we got a ton of young men coming in this program, and I'm looking forward to seeing him lead these young men into the season.
Sounds good. Speaking of another young man, long snapper Nico Davis came in. Obviously, had to do a lot with snapping for punts and field goals and everything.
Nico, yes. Got to put some weight on Nico, but Nico handled it very well. I think he had maybe 2 error snaps this past season, but for a young man who'd be thrown in the fire right away, he handled it really, really well. I think he recorded his first tackle, which he was really pumped up about, but I said, yeah, Nico, you have to snap the ball and you will play a little bit of football after that. So, right. But in those situations, and when we talk about situations, where whether it's, we need the field goal, a pivotal field goal at a crucial time, or punt to get us out of backed up to turn the field. He's been in those situations. So we have guys that are coming back that have been in these situations that can help get us out of them.
Obviously, Griffin Milovansky set the school record for field goals and was first team all conference. Obviously, the holder and the long snapper or short snapper are 2 keys to setting that kind of record.
Absolutely, and because the whole mechanics of it all, like you say, from snap to hold, that's incredible, and it's a synchronization, and that's things that those guys work tremendously at all summer long to get that synchronization down, and for it to happen and for it to work. And like you say, records are not just set, just to be out there doing it. I mean, it has to be worked at. And I tell you something about Griff. He kicked in some of the worst weather that you could kick in, and I just would often think about, what if we were in a dome? What would he do? But no, but he did an excellent job.
Yeah, I mean, the season finale at Ferris with, coming inches away on a couple of 50-yard attempts. I mean, and hit everything above 40 yards.
And you know what? And those are some of the things. And when we talk about practice, going back like to Carl, and going back to Griff, when we talk about practice, you think for a kicker, someone with a work ethic like his, and also work, I would say, hey, Griff, save your leg, let's get some, no, Coach, I'm okay. But he made me comfortable and feel good about putting him out there trying those 50-yarders, right? So whenever you get a guy like that who works like that, it's almost like you owe him to be able to say, hey, listen, let's go try it. And he came, like you say, came close, and he had some pretty big ones for us.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned earlier some of the new guys, about 35 freshmen coming in, about 25 transfers. You did get 3 of them that came in January. Mackay Battle and Jalen Banks on the defensive line, and Will Fenema linebacker. So obviously you've got 60 new guys coming in. That's going to be an interesting camp with 60 returners and 60 new guys.
Well, football is interesting altogether, right? So let's throw some more interesting things into it. No, but I will tell you this: when you recruit, the biggest thing you have to do is, and it's my job, and we talk about culture. It's my job to build the culture here, and the players in the locker room takes it over. So then it's my job to cultivate that and bring in like-minded guys. I can't allow the guys in the locker room to cultivate this culture, then bring in different people, right? Because then they'll look at me like, Coach, what are you doing? So it's for me to go out and bring in like-minded people that want football to be a lifestyle, educational wise, that are up to par as well. So when you talk about the transition and the fit during camp, I mean, the honeymoon period will be short, because I think they're, like I say, they're all pretty much like-minded people, really good guys, and I think they'll blend really, really fast. It'll happen quick.
This coming year, a little change in the GLIAC, adding Roosevelt. Starting off the year with 4 non-conference games at Tiffin, home with Findlay, home with Indianapolis, and then at Truman. So not an easy gauntlet there to start with again. So.
But I was always told if you want to be the man, you have to beat the man, right? So, and there's 2 ways you can look at the schedule. It hardens us. It prepares us for what we have to do and what we have to get ready for. Because the GLIAC is no piece of cake, right? It's no piece of cake. And so why not start off preparing yourself for the GLIAC? Because what I would hate to do is, you start off in a different route where you play a couple of games and you're not sure, you come in with this inflated sense of self, and then you run into this monster machine of the GLIAC, and then you really awaken. So, but let's get this thing started off right with some tough opponents. So you mentioned Tiffin, right? Coming off a stellar year last year, ended up 11-1. A lot of that team is returning. You talk about production, great production returning. New coaching staff, but at the same time, where is he from? Saginaw, the GLIAC, right? So you're going to have the mentality, the toughness, the physicality, the overall discipline of not beating yourself. And I think that's the one great thing the teams in the GLIAC do a really good job of, is of not beating themselves. And so you take a team who went 11-1 last year, and then you bring a guy in from the GLIAC. So it's pretty much playing in a
GLIAC school,
GLIAC school, right? So, but it's going to be tough, So that's a Thursday night game.
Yeah.
There in Tiffin. So I'm pretty sure that crowd's going to be cranked up, ready, rowdy, ready to go.
Sounds great. Well, thanks again for watching this edition to Get to Know Your Wayne State Football Team.